Good morning. We're
Good
going to
morning.
start in just a second.
Yay.
Yay. Hey. What are you doing? Are you poking me with your little wand?
I am my little wand.
Well, this little wand.
Yeah, that was going to be the prop for the magical unicorn.
What happened to your little head thing?
Yeah, it was. Well, we'll talk about it. Maybe I'll wear it. I don't think I'll wear it. Maybe.
Yeah,
but anyway, so it's 11 o'clock. We're live.
Yeah, we're live. Welcome to Mondays with Tara and Andre.
Hey, hello.
If this is your first time joining us, we come here live every Monday at 11 a.m. like you said, and
Eastern Daylight Time.
Eastern
Savings Time.
What
are we?
Eastern Standard Time.
Eastern Standard Time. Eastern
Yes.
Saving Time and Eastern Daylight.
No, daylight and savings are the same.
They are.
Daylight
where are we now?
Standard.
This is standard. Okay, we're coming to you live, and it's 11 o'clock where we are. Who knows where you are and what time it is, but it's 11 o'clock Eastern.
We're having a good start here.
Yeah.
This is the first time we've been together in a long time.
I know. Welcome back.
It's so amazing. Yeah, we're in the same space, so we'll have to figure out how to navigate this again. I got used to being on separate screens and looking at you straight in the screen.
But navigate it more than one way, not just this technology part, but also as polyamorists.
Yes,
right?
That's true.
Yeah, you have a place. Yes. And I have a place. And at one point, we both had places on the very same block, which was incredibly convenient, right? Because we could come and go and do our own thing and yet still be close to each other. And now your place is in one city, my place is in another city, and we are extending ourselves as guests to each other, I guess. And it's strange, it morphs, it changes. But then my friend was here with me for a while, and she was with both of us, and we were kind of living sort of like in this triadish kind of way, ish, sort of, right?
Ish, yeah.
And then now they're back in their city. You're here, and
anyway,
keep a scorecard. Anyway, hi.
You really went off
on a tangent. It happens.
It's because you're so excited about today's topic.
Yes, we're on the letter U. And we're talking about, well, many things we could have spoken about, but we decided to speak about unicorns and unicorn hunting.
Yes.
Because it is something that comes up quite a bit in both the negative and positive. It's kind of what they might call controversial at times, being unicorn or being unicorn hunters. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And also what we did, which was kind of cool, is we made a survey that we asked you to participate in. Many people did.
Yeah.
Quite a few people did. And we got some fantastic response. So we're going to review a little bit about that. But maybe we should start off talking about what is a unicorn, who are unicorn hunters, and the good and the bad and the ugly of that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you've been on any of the poly groups, you probably have heard the term unicorn or unicorn hunting. Usually it's people often stepping in it a bit, as they say. So stepping in it like, unknowingly.
Like poo.
Yeah, because there's really strong feelings, like you said, about what it is. So in terms of definitions, many definitions for the term unicorn, and we can all have our own definitions as with anything, right, to serve us.
And some people, one of the answers said that they don't like using labels. But the thing is, can we come to kind of like a consensus about it so that when we do speak about it, we have a general idea about it? On a very side note here, one thing that just occurred to me is when we speak about unicorns, unicorn hunting, the subject of bestiality doesn't seem to come up.
No. All right. For the purpose of our survey, we did put a definition in there as a unicorn, which is, I would say, what would be most commonly referred to a unicorn as a single person, and it's usually but or most often a bisexual woman willing to be sexually and romantically involved with both members of a two-person relationship.
Romantically, also again controversial, right? Some people say that it is simply a sexual function, and other people, because when it becomes romantic, some people argue, well, then it becomes more like a triad.
Right, but this is where you and I diverge in opinions, because I think when people are critical about unicorn hunting, they're talking about where there's a dyad, so two people wanting a third to join them, and that's where the hunting aspect, the predatory aspect of it comes up.
Right. So, but I think the reason why it becomes controversial is because some people say that they might be inviting the person in on a sexual level, right, in that dyad, and then, but they might have kind of like a secret agenda, unbeknownst even to themselves perhaps, that they're wanting actually really a third person who's going to be maintaining a relationship with them, and wanting a little bit more than just simply the role as functioning in that sexual physical way.
And I think that's where things, and why people get really strong feelings about it, because it feels like a bit of privilege by the couple, and that the individual coming in is dating a relationship rather than a person,
right.
And that it can set up, I'm going to say it can set up, depending on the unicorn and the couple, sort of an unequal dynamic.
Right.
So,
but I think really what happens is when a potential for it is when there is a lack of communication, a lack of clarity, a lack of understanding. So what is it that we're wanting? So I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with necessarily looking for a third, call them unicorn or otherwise. That in itself is okay, but are you communicating openly as to what it is you're wanting and not wanting? And the same thing goes for the unicorn. There's a sense of responsibility to the unicorn, right? If they're presenting themselves as wanting to be just a sexual participant, when in fact they're really wanting to be inserted into that relationship, are they being open and transparent about what it is they're wanting?
For sure.
And it's all about communication.
Yeah, and I think in terms of if it's in terms of a couple opening up, for example, they might innocently be going about this thinking that they want this interesting new dynamic, and not necessarily wanting to be predatory in nature, although it can become that way.
Which could also be kind of fun too. It
depends on the person.
It depends on the person.
And people.
But being the predator or being the prey is not necessarily a horrible or evil thing in itself. In fact, look at just the way that we wear high heels, right? It is meant to interrupt our natural gait, the way that we walk. So part of it speaks to our reptilian brain and says, oh, there's an animal that might be a good prey, right? So as the predator, we become alerted to that, and we want to go to it, kind of like with red lipstick also, right? It speaks to that primal desire. So I think it's okay to be the hunter or be the hunted, but we should be ethical about it. We should know what we're getting into as much as we can. Yes. Be transparent about it.
And Brene is saying the mythical, magical, rarely to be found unicorn. And then there's a comment by Aubrey, is the issue is that hunters are going in as a unit, dating a solo person. So yes, that's where there could be an issue.
Yes, but orcas and lions do the same thing. They hunt as a pack, and wolves, right?
Yeah. And we're not, I don't think we're advocating for or against this, but what we're saying, it's like any relationship dynamic, there could be problems, and it's a lot to do with the people.
But the antidote in all of those problems, in any situation, any scenario, the antidote is communication.
And consent.
Well, of course, consent always, and respect. But I'm saying that the way to demystify, the way to add some clarity is to talk about it. Become informed and allow for the information to be shared. Ask questions. Let your position be known. State it clearly.
Yeah, I agree. But I think sometimes when it is a solo and a couple, the solo person, by the fact that they're solo, is like 1/3, of the relationship. And so sometimes what happens, I think what often happens is a little bit of an imbalance, and why people really get upset about it, because they think that, you're creating a bit of, I keep using the word privilege, but the couple could create rules that they want to impose on the third.
Okay, but some people would also argue that it's not uncommon to, or not dissimilar to, the power dynamics between a sub and a dom, right? So it would appear on the surface as though the dom has all the power, but yet it is the sub who is saying where the limits are. So the unicorn may be only one going into this threesome, but they might also say, well, these are the things that I'm interested in, these are the things I'm not interested in. And again, that comes back to consent, right? And the couples may also say, look, we're not into that, or we're down for this, and what we are.
Yeah, I think the other issue that kind of arises as well is that there may be limits put on the relationships. So you have to always see the two people, or that the person coming in has to be exclusive with them. And that may be, someone may want that too. You know what I mean? Like you said, like it's
different in each one, right? Each one is going to be tailored to the three people involved, but we'd only know that by sharing openly our real interests and our our parameters.
And I think someone made this point in the survey as well. And we're going to get to some of the results. We'll actually share the results with you because names aren't associated with it, around a difference of how a unicorn is viewed in a swinger situation versus in like a relationship, like a polyamorous or open relating, where it's actually a relationship they're looking for. Because in the swinging context, someone coming in as a unicorn is really special and, you know, revered in some ways. It can be. So it can be different in those different contexts. But again, people.
Right. But revered with magical powers, right? Which is why it is such a unique thing. Use some magical powers.
Ding, ding, ding. Thank you.
My little wand. Yeah. So I think that is a big part of it, right? Because it seems so attractive in so many ways. We attach this importance to. We give it this special kind of status, right?
Yeah, and it can be special. And I think some of the comments that people made show that, right? And why people like being a unicorn.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if you wanted to go, should we go through some of the things to think
about?
Sure,
let's do it. Yeah, where do we go?
Yeah, we just put a few thoughts down. Like, if I am a unicorn hunter, what am I hunting for? What am I looking for truly?
Good question. Yeah.
Am I searching for a third or a triad? And is that considered unicorn hunting?
Right. So yeah, what would be the difference then? So let's say, for example, you and I happen to be a couple. And we want to have interaction with somebody else, a male or a female, but we call them a unicorn regardless of who they are, and we're inviting them in. Are we wanting them to be simply a sexual function with us?
So like a threesome?
Like a threesome? Or are we wanting it to be an ongoing threesome where it's simply physical and sexual? Or are we wanting some level of emotional intimacy and we want it to be ongoing? And if so, if we were wanting it to be emotional, is that the distinction that makes it then into a triad? And if it is a triad, are we considering the triad to be kind of equal, where we all have a share, or is it still you and I are a unit and then it's the outsider? So when does it become a triad? And when does it become a threesome? When is it, you know, what's the distinction made? Is it simply physical, or does it become an emotional question? Or when is there that balance? Because even if you are simply sexual physical, there's always going to be some feelings involved, right? There's always going to be some consideration of the other person. They are still a human, even if they are in a unicorn form.
Yes, but some people feel that they don't consider the feelings of the unicorn. They're seen as an object. And I think that's why people take exception to the term.
Yes, but some people want to be objectified.
That's true too.
It's never so clear cut or so easy.
It's so interesting. Oh, this is a good point by Aubrey.
But I think what's really fantastic is that there can be so many different shades to this and so many different ways that we want to participate or not participate. But again, and I'm so sorry to sound like a broken record, but the key to it is to get the information, to speak openly about what you're wanting and not wanting. And it's just as valid as anybody else's opinion and position.
That's true.
Yeah.
So can I ask you a question?
Yeah, please.
Have you ever been a unicorn?
Good question. I don't know that I was actually named as a unicorn, or a mancorn, as some people might call it. But yes, I was invited to be the third, and I felt privileged, and I felt as though I was objectified, and I was loving it. I was desiring it. I felt as though I was giving them the pleasure that they might have wanted, but I was also receiving a lot of their attention as well. And the dynamics were fantastic. It was very fluid in many ways, and it was a privilege. I felt honored to be the bull or the unicorn in their relationship, and it was quite a fantastic experience. Not always the case. Sometimes there is power imbalance. Unfortunately, there's too much attention paid to one person, not the other, and there's feelings of inadequacy or jealousy that might arise. But my experiences were quite fantastic.
That's awesome. Well, you mentioned the term bull, so I want to like define that for some people who don't know that. So usually, I think because the unicorn is often a term associated with the unicorn being a bisexual female identifying, woman identifying person.
Often.
That's why people sometimes use the term manicorn, which I mean, I still think it's a unicorn. And then a bull is slightly different, I would say, but different but similar. A bull is usually a penis owner that is there to join and perform as a.
Yeah, they have a very, it would seem like a very defined role, right?
Yes.
Testaverdes, and they're going to go at it, and they're just going to really, have their function pretty well defined. I think a unicorn might have a little bit more playfulness to it, or a little bit more Yeah, for me, from my understanding, the bull is like, okay, here's your job, get to it, let's go. We're in the
you're there to fuck.
We're in the bull ring and get to it, and then get out.
Get out, yeah. But sometimes that's what a unicorn is too. Can be. But I like the unicorn being more magical. I can see you being as a lovely unicorn. I'm sure your partners really enjoyed it. Oh, dragon. Oh, that's another. Okay, that's a good one. Oh, I like that better.
I've got a great politically incorrect dragon joke, which I cannot say because it's politically incorrect, but it's a great dragon joke.
Oh yes, I know that one.
The punchline is good. Anyway.
All right.
Where were we?
Yes, and we've had, I think, some of our first experiences were with individual female identifying people.
That's interesting. So our first experience, our very, very first experience as a couple, when we went out, were we unicorn?
And we didn't know.
Well, I think we were unicorn hunting, but I don't think we knew it. We didn't have a language for it. We didn't have the awareness for it, but we were doing it and had a splendid time at it too. We were very lucky to find somebody who was fairly knowledgeable, very loving, and very open with their feelings, and allowed us to kind of come into it in a wonderful way.
Yeah, and I think what was great about that person.
Hi, Amanda.
There's so many Amandas. It could be anyone.
Hey, what is that?
Maybe she's
there's only one Amanda.
Well, there's only one of our Amandas, but there's other Amandas out there. But what was great about that person was they really came in with strong feelings about how they wanted to be treated and what they wanted out of the relationship.
Right. They were great at communicating what it is they were wanting and not wanting from it, right?
I think that's why it was a great experience.
It sure was. Yeah.
And we had a few after that. We had a few, yeah.
And we had one that kind of went south, right? What happened was we, I guess, thought again that we were going to have that kind of unicorn threesome experience. And this person was actually of a different mindset. They thought that they might enter into a triad with us. And they went away to their own province, far, far away. And when they came back, they expressed that they were a little bit taken back that our relationship, you and I, seemed to have evolved while they were not part of that. And I think it was a question of expectations that were not met. But really, when I look back at it, it was that we did not communicate enough about what our expectations are.
Yeah.
But it's interesting.
That's bad on us, for sure.
Bad on us. But the thing is, how do you maintain that kind of sexy, flirtatious, kind of like spontaneity, organic component at the same time being like, okay, well, here's what I'm wanting and not wanting. So it's like, we meet and it's like at one point I am going to introduce the topic of STIs. I want to know, I want you to know that I've been tested and I want to know that you've been tested, but I also want to be fun and flirtatious about it. So it's that balance, right? Because I want to be able to be open and communicative and be transparent, but at the same time, I want it to develop organically and be playful. And it's a skill. You got to find a way to do it, but we need to have these conversations because otherwise we have miscommunication and that's not cool.
Yeah, for sure. Should we share the screen and share some of the things? Okay.
I feel like we're way all over the place, but hey, I'm having fun. So, and you know what? I think there might be caffeine in this coffee.
Do we have too much caffeine? Okay, here we go. All right. So hopefully you can see. I'm just going to quickly peek. Yeah. Okay. It's showing on screen.
I like this. Yeah. Because also we can see the comments.
No, but then I can't scroll.
Okay. But then
so we have to go to this. Right, so we have to assume that we're going to look cool. Right. Okay. So originally, 21 responses, which is amazing.
Yeah,
Thank you
awesome.
so
Yes.
much.
Yeah,
we were so thrilled. And everyone who responded was really thoughtful in their responses. Yeah. And I have to, once we get to the question, anyways, when we get to that question, I'll apologize. So I think originally because we had invited people who were unicorns to respond. There's a really high proportion of people that either like or are neutral, because we'd asked people who proudly identify.
Yeah.
So 42.9% neutral, but 38.1% liking.
Yeah. Can I say something though?
Yeah.
I wonder if people dislike it, are they more likely to just say, like what a stupid subject, and just turn off it and not respond?
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, next time I think we should just get like 50 people, lock them in a room and make them respond.
Ooh, what else are we going to make them do?
A whole bunch of things.
All right. So, this next question will help give you a percentage, but here's, do you self-identify? So some people say yes, so 28.6%. No, 14.3, which is probably the same. It's interesting. That's the same as the dislikes. So that's probably a good correlation.
Right.
And then sometimes 57.1%. So I think that's really cool because.
Have you ever identified as a unicorn? You've been invited to be?
I think I've invited, I've
sure.
always, when couples have approached me like online, I've always turned it down, like people I don't know, because I don't know, I think I assumed the negative side of it.
Which would be what?
That, you know, I was just going to be a plaything, and I wasn't sure how I felt about that.
And but that's negative?
Well, but in the context of a swinging situation, like when we've been at a party or a club and that sort of thing, there's been situations where I've played on my own with a couple, like you've been nearby doing your own thing. And I do like that dynamic. So I think I might actually revisit it. And then I've had friends that we've seen together invite me to be a unicorn. And so far have not taken them up on that, but I might do that. That used to be one of our rules, is that if we saw people as a couple, that we wouldn't.
If we met them as a couple.
I met them as a couple, that we wouldn't then date them separately.
Well, and because we had the idea that would we feel as though one was being favored, right? There was going to be some type of imbalance. But I think maybe also, you know, it evolves over time, and maybe we feel more secure now that we would be okay with that. But also with the couple that you're speaking of, I have a pretty good idea who that might be. I think that we all feel pretty secure in our relationship with each other.
Yeah, and I would probably do it. And I think what's interesting of thinking about that rule that we used to have, or agreement that we had, is that might have been a bit of couples privilege on our own. You know what I mean? True. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, true.
So.
Yeah. But you know, I would say to you, if you've not yet ever participated as a unicorn, and you are rather open-minded to many different situations, I would say maybe there's something there that you want to look at before you actually go into it, right? Because you can never undo what you've already done. And I'm not saying don't do it, but maybe consider what your feelings are. If you had any kind of resistance or hesitancy towards it, might that be alerting you to some feelings, some potential, whatever it is. Just inform yourself.
And I think some people have some really good suggestions on what to do if you want to be a unicorn as we get through. So if you answered yes or sometimes the above, what is it about being a unicorn that appeals to you? So tons of answers here.
Let's just pick a few.
Let's pick a few. I like this one. Being the center of attention and providing myself and couples with the ability to explore and their duo sexuality and mindfully.
Wow,
I like that.
Yeah, that sounds like love.
Someone said freedom of choice. I really like that. I enjoy playing with and nurturing relationships with couples. I love this one. I've been married for 1,000,000 years.
That's a long time.
Being able to meet a couple as a person by myself was a new dynamic for me. I enjoyed being shared by a couple, but also felt that I was able to share something special with them because it was their first time exploring.
But that's beautiful, because the couple is experiencing and receiving from them, and then they're giving back to the couple. So it's, you know, both ways, right? It sounds like a lot of exchange of love and tender feelings both ways.
Yeah. And there's some other things in here that I think are important. I like doing it with a secure couple. So secure, because I think you can get into that drama where a couple wants to do it and like do this thing, and you're like, yeah, I want to do it. This is my agreement. You know, you might set up all the parameters, and then something could happen, you know, in the moment, right? Which it can, right? We've had that situation arise.
Yeah, for sure. It's a question of the secure couple. So I think sometimes it is the kind of gateway to being open or poly, right? So we think we're secure, we feel secure, we imagine ourselves to be secure, and then we go into a scenario and we find out, whoa, wait a second, like I didn't know I was going to feel this way. So yeah, what does it mean to be a secure couple? And can we talk about what it might be like before it happens? So we kind of have some level of awareness, and the what ifs. What if I feel, you know, insecure? What if I feel really strongly attracted to this person? And so on.
Yeah, exactly.
So gather that information, inform yourselves, and be able to go into it with eyes open and respectfully and consensual.
I like this one. It's such a gift to come into a relationship and provide a memorable experience. It makes me feel wanted. Let's see. Oh, here's one that's not positive. Nothing about it appeals to me. I use it as a descriptive for others who might need help understanding my potential place in their dynamic. I dislike labels. Yeah.
Sure. Right.
Someone enjoy being free as a unicorn. They don't have nesting partners. I like being the fun additional element.
But there is a great freedom to it, right? I mean, depending on your role, your how you define yourself as a unicorn, you might just simply insert yourself, allow yourself to go into the relationship, experience what you're wanting from it, and then go. Like somebody else said, I like being unicorn because I don't have to do his laundry, his
Oh yeah, I don't know where that one is.
Which I thought was a great point, but somewhat sexist. But it was great. I think I understood the idea that they don't have the whole bunch of responsibilities that might come with being a partner in a relationship, right? You can come into it, have your time, get out of it, and go do your thing.
I like this one. It says, I like being the special guest star in their bedroom.
Fantastic.
And I love that.
Woo! Special guest star.
They say it's rare to find a couple that I'm attracted to both mentally, emotionally, and physically, but well worth the effort to seek them out.
Well, that's interesting. Finding the couple that I'm finding. So we look at the unicorn as being magical and special, but finding the right couple is pretty magical and special too, right? It's not always the case.
Right. And it's even when any type of these things, when you're, whether or not you're just swinging or that sort of thing, like what people often say to me when I talk to clients and stuff like that is it's hard finding people that they get along with. If they want a couple to see another couple, getting along with both people in that dynamic is really hard, right? Attracted to them, but also feeling like psychically connected. And
not that you should settle, but maybe we also have to manage our expectations. So the idea of having unicorn is that it's magical, right? That they're going to be fulfilling all of our fantasies, that we project onto them a whole bunch of traits, and we deny a lot of the reality of it. And as unicorn going into it, are we doing something similar with the couples? Because nobody's going to be perfect. There are always going to be some considerations, and we'll have to balance that out and figure out what do we pay attention to and what can we turn down the volume on.
Well, it's true of any, like even just dating, is finding the right match with you. Is so hard, and I think it's
poly or mono. Either way,
I'd say it's the most common thing people say when they enter the group is that it's hard to find people, the right people.
Right. So then my question would be, what makes them the right people? What makes them the wrong people?
Well,
what are those identifiers? What do we find are the elements that we're attracted to and the things that are turned off?
Yeah, and that's why we have to know what it is for us.
Right.
This is the question I messed up, and I'm sorry because we had changed the question. We wanted to find out if you were a unicorn, if you felt like a passenger or a driver. So I had put yes, no, maybe. So then thank you for people being very creative.
It's still a beautiful pie. I love all the
colors. It's lots of colors. I like being in control of what I allow to happen in the situation. It's purely physical, so I can't speak to how the dynamic would change. That was one of them. I certainly recognize my position in the swinger community, but also definitely feel objectified. In a poly-focused relationship, I feel less empowered, as our shared relationship is usually dictated by the one with the deepest insecurities.
That's true. That's a good point.
And my position as the unicorn is nearly always regarded as less than the couple. Yes, I think that's the thing.
But I wonder how somebody can come
in balance.
Yeah, but I wonder how somebody can come into it and recognize that the other two have potential to have greater domination in it, but yet be able to claim it and make it two parts, the unicorn and the recipients of them.
Yeah, I think you have to have a really strong sense of self and what it is that you want and desire in that dynamic, and and work that way.
Right.
I feel you're the driver until you enter the physical part. Usually the couple tend to try to control the situation. Yeah, I wonder if that changes depending on the experience of the couple and how long they've been doing this sort of thing, right?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because I think,
how have we evolved over time, or have we regressed?
I'm trying to think back to some of our first experiences and how we might have been in those situations. I think we tried to be balanced for sure, but it depended on the other person and what they were looking for and that sort of thing.
Yeah. But I wonder, with this information now, with our declaring that we need to be more communicative, are we going to be? So the next time we find ourselves in this scenario, will we simply allow it to kind of go organically and take the path of least resistance, or will we announce what it is we're wanting and not wanting?
Yeah, I think I would want to. I mean, I think we do this in any of our interactions with people, is announce what we want, tell people what we feel, and ask them what it is they want.
Yeah, but I think I've gotten much better at that in the last 4 years than I was 4 years ago.
Yeah, and we've definitely worked on our own agreements and that sort of thing, which is why, that's something when we work with people, I talk about all the time, is working with, knowing what your agreements are between yourself and, others. So here's, if you've shared that you're a unicorn, what types of responses? So this is if you've shared that you're a unicorn with friends or family. Right. So
because sometimes it's easy to recognize, and people have little symbols to let you know that they're unicorns, and other times, how do you know it? How do you announce it? Is that getting ahead?
No, I'm talking more about like, I tell you're my friend and I tell you, oh, guess what? I'm a unicorn sort of thing, or, whatever.
And how's that responded?
And how did people respond? At least that's what I meant when we wrote the question. Okay. Maybe we had different reasons.
No, I thought you meant like at a party kind of situation. Okay, but let's hear the response then.
Oh, so, also obviously up to interpretation, but some people have negative ones.
Negative from everyone but cis married men, not in the lifestyle, and other unicorns.
Oh, that's interesting, because they want the unicorn, I guess. Yes, yes. Mainly positive, but with the objectification factor. So then are we being further objectified because we call ourselves a unicorn by people?
But again,
or that we want to be a unicorn.
But there's nothing that says it's actually anything disparaging about being objectified. Some people want to be sex objects.
Yeah, true. Yeah. And that's fine.
If they're consenting to it.
Oh, I like this one. One of my nicknames is Fantasy Fulfiller. So you could say it's all positive.
Cool.
I don't ledger much room for people bringing their negativity into my unicorn safety zone. Oh, I like that.
I like that too.
Yeah, it's like taking what you want, right? And discarding what you don't want.
For sure. And that they have their own safety zone. So they're very good advocates of their own parameters. Excellent.
I like this one. Usually a giggle or two. I'm partnered and some people can't understand that I can be both a single male and part of a couple. It's been a mix. I have not shared positive and neutral responses. I've had couples sound guilty when they want a unicorn, and I try to assure them there's nothing wrong with wanting a unicorn instead of a throuple. As long as everyone's honest and everything's consensual and enjoyable, I see no issue.
Fantastic response. Excellent. Yeah, I love that.
Okay, that's great. So the next question is, this is a good one, I think. How do you go about stating your position and what you're wanting as a unicorn? So
stating your position and how you go about it.
Yeah, so how do you, if you want to be a unicorn, how do you, ensure what you want is respected and so on. So honest and upfront about what I'm okay with and what I'm not.
That's what we've been saying for sure.
As soon as there are negative feelings towards me from the primary female partner, I back off.
That's interesting.
So it's interesting. I wonder if that's a common thing, that the female identifying person has a negative reaction.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite possibly. Well, because I think there's the jealousy component. I think the same thing would happen if we were talking about a bull going into it. Would the male presenting person feel intimidated or jealous if they're getting too much attention?
But I think it could also happen too with the male identifying person, right? Like if you're in a threesome and there's two women, and they
really make a strong connection.
Yeah, and then you feel a bit left out.
Yeah, so that's exactly. So it doesn't really matter about what form you're taking. It's, do you feel as though you are being in any way excluded or the other person is being preferred? And that gives us possible potential cause for feeling insecure.
Okay, I like this one. I'm firm that I refuse to allow someone in the relationship to have power over my interactions with one or both. So that's interesting, because sometimes, like we said earlier, there's a rule from the couple that they only see the person together. So this person says that's just not on. You know, if I want to see you or if I want to see me, like the other person, then I can do that. So if a couple has designs on what our future needs should look like, I exit the relationship. My autonomy is paramount. I like that.
I like this one also. I'm clear that I love unicorning, but won't be limited to make choices outside of the relationships. Because yes, very often it seems as though we hear many couples say that they are wanting this unicorn to be left in their own little play cabinet and not be participatory with anybody else. They're putting limitations on their unicorn.
Yeah.
And people won't stand for that. Although some people do want to be kept.
Okay. Right up front and honesty. If it's not followed through with, I remind. Oh, someone posted a blog. I explained that I'm there for her, not him. Him as we went. He needs to be respectful of that. So that person must have a specific, if I understand that comment correctly, they want to be with the woman, not the man. So, I mean, hey, if that's what they want and they express that, then, I'm looking, this is a good one. I'm looking to be an equal part of whatever situation's being discussed. I can tell when couples have agreements between themselves regarding the third, like no kissing or being in the room only when they see both present. As long as I understand and agree with the boundaries, I'm okay. Oh wow, there's lots in here. I think this is the key question. This is a good one. Discuss boundaries. I mean, they're all good. Communication styles and how much commitment the couple wants. Yeah. Same process I would with a single person. I'm pretty clear in my dating profiles as to what I'm looking for and what I want. I express my intentions and desires. So people consent. Oh, I like this one. I also like to have a consent circle discussion with each participant, asking them to clearly express their likes and preferences, any personal or couple related boundaries, and perhaps one fantasy they'd like to have happen. Yeah, I love that. Consent circle.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
I'm open and flexible. As a manicorn, I feel my role is already understood to be mostly sexual. So there's that term, manicorn again.
Oh, that's interesting. So I wonder if they understood that it's to be mostly sexual. What if they're wanting a little bit more than just a sexual experience? How do you ask for the emotional part? How do you say, fine, we can do these physical, sexual things, but I would like to also feel seen, incorporated, loved?
You could just say that. Could you not just say that?
You can, absolutely. I just did. But very often it seems as though, I'll speak for myself, historically it's been easier to talk about things that are physical or sexual than the vulnerability of emotional aspects. Vulnerability in emotional desires seems not as always so easy. So people are saying, like, what are you looking for? And it's hard to announce it and say, well, I'm looking for somebody who will express tender feelings towards me and call me on occasion, make me feel valid and seen and desired. It's okay to say, well, I'm looking for, this, that, and the other thing sexually, but the emotional part doesn't seem to be as easy to announce or as common in my experience.
I think for me, the trouble, because you get asked that a lot on that dating apps. They're like, oh, well, what are you looking for? And I never know how to answer that question because it totally depends on the people. And I don't always know when I first talk to someone what I want from them, because I feel like, while there's some general things I'm interested in, there's not, depending on the person will depend on what I want. Like I can say that I'm not looking just for hook. I can say what I don't want.
But you would be willing to have a hookup with a certain person, but you might want to have a more deeper ongoing connection with a different type of person.
Generally, I'm not looking for a hookup. When I'm on a dating site, I want to meet someone that I like and that I might see more than once. If we go to a party or a club or something like that, that's a totally different dynamic for me. But when I'm looking on a dating site, I'm looking for someone that I would like to be with on my own or with you potentially. You know what I mean? That's what I'm looking for. And an ongoing thing. Someone I like as a person.
So if you were dating on a dating site and looking for someone that you're going to have an ongoing relationship with, is it fair to say that there would be some level of emotional investment there?
Yeah.
Okay. So would you consider that person to be with us as well? Would you want them to have an emotional component with us? Or should that be more physical sexual if they're going to be shared between the two of us? Do they in any way threaten or interfere with our relationship if there's an emotional component? So you might have, the makings of a V relationship where you are having your connection with this person on the dating site and you develop romantic feelings together, but would you want to share that person and have them develop romantic feelings with, say, me?
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, and I think this is what sometimes people say is the way to grow a triad organically, is to establish your own relationships individually with the people and then, decide if there's a group situation that might work for all of you. Anyways, it's like I don't always know, when I meet the people. But I think mostly I'm looking for an emotional connection. But I absolutely hate that question because it's usually the first question people ask is, oh, what are you looking for?
What would it be like to state it?
Well, maybe I need to work on my, elevator speech for what I want.
Yeah, well, I wonder if you were to put it in your profile at the get-go, if you're saying, I'm open to a variety of experiences or whatever you want to say, and let it be known beforehand. If you hate that question, could you offer the answer so you're not asked the question?
I think it's in my profile. Maybe not so specific. I'm going to go look at it after. And maybe we can work on it.
I'd like to look at it too. Maybe we can hook up sometime.
Okay. If you're someone who's seeking a unicorn, what is it you're specifically looking for in this dynamic? So here's some great answers. Another woman to satisfy our desire for newness, as well as a lovely dynamic created by three. Fulfills desire for voyeurism, exhibitionism, as well as group sex. We enjoy couples to prefer a solo woman as it is easier to connect. Also, another body is just more fun. I think, just based on our experiences and that sort of thing, while I did love some of our earlier experiences as threesomes, I think I do prefer the dynamic of a foursome or moresome.
What do you like about that? What do you prefer about that?
I think there's more interaction, ability to interact, and I don't know, I feel like it's a more balanced interaction, maybe. I don't know. It depends on what you get involved in too, right? It depends on if you're full swap, soft swap, full swap. Should we define those terms?
Sure. Go ahead.
So for people who don't know, soft swap, when I say that, I'm referring to when it's just oral sex, kissing and oral sex.
Everything outside of PIV.
Yes.
Or
yes.
PIA.
Yeah. Yes. PIA, penis and vagina, penis in anus. Yeah. Like.
No penetration.
No. Yeah. Penetration. Yeah.
That's so amazing though, that should be that one component, that one act should be the decisive factor to call it full swap, soft swap. Like something happens psychically if there's some form of insertion. A finger, a digit, I guess would be okay though, right? That's
that
kind of penetration's okay?
I don't know. Well, some people have the no kissing rule, like the pretty woman rule.
Sure.
Yeah, I do everything but kiss. Because kissing, I think, is very intimate.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, look at we see that in bisexuality, right? Some women say, "Well, I would not go down on a woman, but I'll kiss her," and some guys would say, "I'll do everything but kissing."
Yes.
So,
is knowing that from personal experience?
Yes, I've seen some women who are resistant to it.
Okay. We've been on the hunt and have found women and men that respect our primary relationship and are upfront and honest about being a secondary relationship at this point. This tends to work better when the unicorn is happily married or secure in their lifestyle choices and not looking to become the primary partner for either myself or my hubby. Well, that's a good point. So there could be a concern or a threat if it's easier if the person, like if I joined another couple, because I have a secure relationship myself, that I'm less threatening than someone who might be solo, who you may believe has other intentions to take your primary partner or really fit in. I mean, it depends on what you want, right? So some people don't want that person fitting into their dynamic as a triad.
But what's interesting is the threat comes from the emotional component. Not the sexual component.
Yeah, it usually is the emotional component. People think it's the sexual component, I think, but it's really the emotional one.
But when I was in a monogamous relationship, it was the threat of the sexual component. Like, oh my God, like they might sleep with somebody else. Right? Yeah. The emotional part never really seemed to enter into it, that they were going to have an affair that way. The initial thing that would have to protect against was the sexual part. And here we're saying we're inviting the sexual, but it's the emotional that could be most threatening.
Yeah.
Steal my partner away.
Or that they might like the other partner more, right? Yeah, so I'm working with some people, and this has come up before, that are considering transitioning from being swingers to being in a more polyamorous relationship. And the difficulty the one partner is having is with their partner having a relationship with another human that's emotional, because it could take something away from them.
True.
Yeah. All right. I know we're getting along on time, but there's so many good questions. Yes. Someone's not seeking unicorn. A new experience to share my partner with someone else. Oh, here's a good one. A person, male or female or non-binary, who can go with the flow and has boundaries and is comfortable with themselves and isn't throwing their unicorn status around like it's something special and to be revered. That's interesting as well. Yeah. Oh, I'd love to dive into that one more.
So again, the question is, what is it specifically you're looking for?
Yes. I don't tend to unicorn hunt, but had a few girlfriends who have joined me when I was in a hetero couple previously. What I was looking for was someone who I found physically attractive with the emotional maturity and sufficient open-minded sexual experience to be able to create a joyful sexual energy exchange without bringing in a lot of unnecessary drama.
Drama-free. Yes. That would be nice. openness and GGG.
I like that. Yeah.
That's always good.
A connection beyond sex, a closeness for the three of us.
Interesting. So again, it comes up to the question of, does that border on being in a triad then?
Yes. Well, this person says, we found our person and are now living in a triad. We started off looking for a unicorn and found so much more. We're all in love and looking forward to living our lives together.
So be careful what you ask for.
All right. Do you have any advice to people? This is the last question. Considering being a unicorn to unicorn hunters. This one's great.
Yeah, I love it. Be honest and consider the need for equality, right?
Yep. Do what feels good. That's the bottom line. If there's a struggle, if there's any dishonesty that's happening, then it's not a good situation.
Right. Yeah, so good to mention that part about being dishonest. So we really want to be transparent. We really want to state what it is we're looking for to the best of our knowledge, right? And be open and honest. And that way you will find someone who fits well, as opposed to kind of going into it with, intentions or withholding information that are not quite as transparent. It's not going to work well. Eventually it'll not play out the way you're wanting it to. So be open and honest with your
Exactly. I love this one. For the hunters, drop all notions of the couple as a we. You are individuals, not a single entity. Research couples privilege and do the deep work to dismantle your couple's privilege. Allow interactions and relations to be organic. It's unrealistic to expect that unicorn will guard both persons as a couple equally. Be open to fluidity and change. Be kind in all communication and hold a unicorn's feelings and desires equally as important as yours. That's great advice.
Yeah.
All the usual self-respect. Only seek a unicorn if you both truly want the experience.
Right. Well, that reminds me very much of well, when people say, often one woman might say, I need to speak to the other woman first alone to find out if there's any kind of coercion, right? Is she being forced into this thing? Is the relationship not going well? But, it could go the other way too, right?
Yes.
Where the guy feels as though like this is the only way to satisfy is to bring in this other component.
Yeah, and I've definitely had that come up for people before also that I've worked with, where the woman realized that she was bisexual and wanted to explore that, and the partner, who was male identifying, was having a hard time with that situation, but felt that was the thing he had to do to kind of allow for that expression. They wanted them to have that expression, but then it brought up a lot of feelings for them as well.
Yeah,
so it's a bunch of things all at once.
So it's a huge red flag, but really what it's saying is things aren't really so great between us, but if we did this one act, all of a sudden it's going to fix our relationship. And that's just not how it works, right?
Yeah, exactly.
No.
That's the thing.
No, you got to have a good base to begin with.
But before, just one more, I know we have some other things. I think just honesty with others, and especially for ourselves. Are you okay with being a unicorn? Are you secretly hoping or wanting more? Also, hunters, making sure you have talked it through. A unicorn doesn't want to be stuck in an uncomfortable situation because all boundaries were not talked about to start. That's good advice.
Yeah, good advice.
Don't hunt anything and don't make a big deal of being a unicorn. People will project on you what they think that label means. Be yourselves and you will attract energy that wants to be with you no matter what you are. Awesome. Oh, so many good things.
Always be respectful, for sure, and consent.
Open and honest. As a unicorn, understand your value in the lifestyle, dating marketplace. Let's just use this one. Oh, remember that we are all individuals. No talk as a couple in a we want sentence. Know that your dynamic as a couple should stay behind and be open to a new dynamic.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm in full agreement with that. Why can't we talk as a couple? Why can't we be unified and say, we've spoken about this. We are secure. We've been together for X amount of time, and we have an emotional component. We are together. We feel together, and this is something we're wanting to experience as a couple. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I think they're talking about I don't know. I guess I'm not sure. But I think if you start talking about the two as a group and a we and a unit, that's where you can get into this imbalance. That's why you have needs within that couple and I have needs within that couple.
But I think if you are transparent in it and feel as though you're wanting to do this as a couple, I don't think that should be something that is to be avoided if it's being transparent.
Well, yeah, speaking your truth, right? Okay. There was lots of comments under anything else you'd like to share.
We're getting close on the.
Oh, we are. Yeah. Can I just read this one?
Real quick.
There are a lot of women who feel strongly about unicorn hunting as being a bad, manipulative, or chauvinistic thing. Like a unicorn is a captive with no body, autonomy, or rights to have a loving relationship with either or both partners. But that couldn't be further from the reality. You're in total control of your body and your bank account. The women that I know enjoy this lifestyle have said, I don't have to do his laundry or raise his kids. I just come and go as I please and have fun with a couple, enjoying going on dates with them, sexual satisfaction, because they're focused on their partner. Saying women are subjugated in this lifestyle is wrong. It's like saying we aren't allowed to be just sexual entities the way men do.
Wow. I don't even know where to start with that one.
I think that just says it all.
Yeah, but I think it's also part of my red flags go up when I hear the division of sexuality like that.
It's true, but I think...
Yeah, and in the majority of cases, yes, absolutely, but it's not exclusive to. And I don't know, I do my own laundry and I take care of my own house, so I don't think I need to have somebody take care of me in that way. I don't think if it would be, could you imagine if it were said from the bull standpoint where I don't want to have to take care of this woman and pay for it? I mean, it would be horrific. You cannot say it in this day.
Well, you could say it. I think the point is they like dropping in.
You better set me straight on this.
They like to drop into the relationship,
of course,
and be part of it, but not have the responsibilities associated being in a couple or being in a in a nesting situation. That's what I think. That's what that's basically meant to see. But you have to admit that traditionally, over time, it's been viewed when women are in something for a sexual reason, it had been viewed previously as something against the woman to be more sexually active and that sort of thing, right, where it was a little bit more allowed, permissible for men identifying to be like that. I think that's historically, I think that's what they're getting at. You're not like that, I know, and I know why you take offense to it, because you're so not like that as a human. But anyways.
Well, that's from my personal point, but from a modern person today, we're wanting to try and make, I think, less distinction between male and female, that we might allow for the fluidity, just like that argument is saying, that it shouldn't be like men are entitled to this, women that for me, I try to make less of a division between and try and invite opportunities where it's less decided by our genitalia or presenting functions.
I 100% agree. So the final one I want to add, and then we'll go to the rest of what we have here, is be kind, be sexy, be awesome, and always be yourself. I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing all that.
So
we have a few other things before we close. I mean, there's so much more we could share. I'm sorry if we missed your comments, but I mean, maybe we need to talk about this a bit more.
Well, as Drang Po says, maybe we should consider this next week. Although I think V is waiting for us.
V is waiting for us.
So anyway,
so many good V words.
Top 3 misconceptions about unicorns. Right?
So we found this on the internet.
Everything is on the internet. Right and wrong, good and bad, it's all on the internet.
Yes.
So what did we ever do before the interweb?
Read books.
Wow, what an idea. Okay, so 3 misconceptions about unicorns. Number 1, unicorns are bisexual women. So we have manicorns, as they may call it, or just male unicorns, right, or both. Okay, so that's wrong. Unicorn can be a person of any gender or sexual orientation. Absolutely.
True.
Number 2, unicorns want to date a couple exclusively. That's also wrong. Although some unicorns may be interested in exclusivity, others will expect the freedom to keep meeting other partners. Exactly. So if your unicorn wants to be owned, that will be their decision, and you must find out from them.
Did you say it?
I said own purposely. Trying to stir the
pot. Yeah. You're doing a good job.
And the third one, misconception, is unicorns are only there to help the couple, and that's also wrong. Although some unicorns may be interested in facilitating sexual fantasies for a couple, others may not want to do this. Always take time to find out what they want to do in their dynamic. So in other words, speak openly. Yes, communication. Speak openly and honestly about what it is you're wanting and not wanting.
All right.
Yeah.
Did you want to do these other ones, or do we?
Where are we on time? We can do it real quick. You want?
All right. So we also found top 6 rules for meeting a unicorn. So, I mean, is this meeting your unicorn
and this is ethically? With a huge asterisk too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So
and then also maybe not using the term unicorn. Meeting a person. I mean, I guess if this is somebody who's meeting, but then it depends on what your definition of a unicorn is.
Well, but that's the thing, right? So are we looking to have somebody integrate with us and become a triad, or are we wanting them to be a sexual component of our fantasies? I mean, what is it that we're wanting? But we would only know that by speaking openly and honestly about what it is we're wanting and asking for them.
So can we scare quotes meeting a unicorn?
Sure.
Not that we're, you know what I mean? I guess this is towards being a bit more ethical. I don't know. Where do we get this stuff? We did not write this.
But some of
them are good, yes.
And some of the things maybe we should be speaking about and say, you know what, this is not something we subscribe to.
All right.
It's good. It's just wanting to talk about it, have a dialogue.
I think these are good points for general meeting people in general. Okay. So make sure you're all on the same page about what you want and don't want out of the dynamic.
So that's the discussion that the couple might have beforehand, right? What is it that we're wanting? I mean, what are we really wanting out of this? Mm-hmm. So do I feel as though if we had another person here, I might get the emotional feeding from them that you're not giving me? Mm-hmm. Or am I feeling as though I'm wanting, this set of whatever it is that's going to deliver us? What is it that we're wanting? Or do we feel as though, we're good and this would just be another facet that would be really enjoyable and a lot of fun? Find out what it is we're wanting.
Yeah. Okay. Everyone should talk openly about their sexual desires, fantasies, and boundaries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good. Boundaries are good to know. Yeah. Anything. Kissing, condoms, whatever it is, right? Mm-hmm. PIV, whatever. Mm-hmm.
Establish ground rules and plan logistics. This includes details beyond sex. For example, whose place will you go to and will everyone sleep over? Oh, sleeping over. That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was interesting. One of our first threesomes, I think when they slept over, because we were really new. We were really new.
At all. You did not like that at all. And it's still one of my fantasies, but anyway.
It wasn't a big enough bed, and I don't sleep well to begin with. And then the fact that the two of you were sleeping and I was just like, and I wasn't sleeping was making me like, so angry.
Really? So I didn't notice.
So I think when we woke up in the morning, when you guys finally woke up in the morning, I was feeling overtired.
You were fit to be tied.
Halt. Hungry, angry. Oh, what is it? Hungry, angry.
Lonely and tired.
Halt. Yeah. Lonely and tired. So I was tired. So
Right. And maybe you're feeling lonely being outside the two of us because we had a bit of a connection.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. She also happened to have the same name as me.
Which was super easy. Right? That's great. Tara to Tara.
Yes. Communication doesn't shut down during sex. Keep checking in with each other. So ongoing, is that the idea of ongoing consent?
Yeah, but it's so arranged. Because here we are, we're going at it, we're having fun. And it's like, are you doing okay? Are you doing okay? How are you doing now? Are you all right? Mm-hmm. No, it's got to be more fluid than that. But yes, definitely. And often it's just a question of eye contact and stuff, right? You get a feel for the person. Hopefully you get a feel for the person. You're not so in your own place.
And I think part of communication is understanding when you're not feeling good about something and being able to say that. And maybe you talk about like signals even, when if you don't, if things are not similar to the kinks,
Oh, like
red, yellow, green sort of thing. I don't know. You'd have to decide what works for you.
Right.
It's always okay for anyone to change their mind and say no at any point for any reason. Oh yeah, that's good. That's good for anything. These are actually good for any kind of. That is good
in life. At any point, you are always entitled to take back your consent, and you do not need to justify it in any way. It is yours, and that's it. Bottom. End of story.
Yeah, exactly. And then the final one, number 6. Remember that within this dynamic, you are 3 people, all with equal valid feelings. Be prepared to respect the boundaries of a unicorn as much as you would your primary partners.
Nice. Okay.
That's it. So, I mean, we talked about a lot of things today.
We sure did.
I think.
And it's 11:59.
I think the thing I want to say is it's as valid as any other model, and it can come with its ups and downs, just like anything. And like we say, always communicate.
I've got a 12 o'clock.
You got 12 o'clock. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. We'll see you soon. Thanks for doing the poll. We're going to do that again for another one.
Let's do it.
Okay. Awesome. Bye.